Hi, I'm Caroline DuBois, author of The Places We Sleep, a holiday house book. The Places We Sleep tells Abby's story. Abby is the new kid in her school again, based on her dad's moves with the Army. The story opens on 9/11. 9/11 is September 11th, 2001, a dark day in American history, when 19 militants associated with Al-Qaeda hijacked planes and used them as weapons against targets in the United States. On that day, nearly 3,000 people lost their lives in New York City, Washington, D.C., and Pennsylvania. So this is the backdrop of Abby's story. Abby's story is also told in verse or poetry, so I'm going to read you several of the opening poems of The Places We Sleep. September, number 1. It arrives like a punch to the gut, like a shove in the girls' room, like a name I won't repeat. It arrives like nobody's business, staring and glaring me down, singling me out in the unsingular mob that ebbs and flows and swells and grows in the freshly painted, de-roached hallways of Henley Middle. It arrives like a spotlight, like an intruder in my bedroom, like a meteor to my center of gravity. It arrives in my body and cahoots allows it, just like that. It arrives and textbooks full of themselves weigh me down. This backpack holds the tools for my success, yet I am unprepared for it. No change of clothes, no girls' supplies, no friend to ask, because Camille is nowhere nearby. No know-how, no nothing. Did I mention it arrives like a double negative? What was Mom thinking by not thinking to prepare me for it? Number 2. The bully of a bell taunts me, rings its second warning to those of us clogging the halls. Follow the arrows, dummy, on the walls. Remember your locker's secret code, 220607. Right, left, and then right again, as if that cold metal box holds all I need to survive yet another school. If I could just locate Camille, the only person I can talk to, the one friend I've made since we moved to town in June, she might know what to do. But no sight of Camille's flame-red hair, and I'm pushed through the rush of arms and legs and sideways scowls, my insides turning black and blue, my sense of direction confused, just as the other new student, Jaman, breezes by, head up and confident. I stop to stare at her before stumbling into Miss DeGuire's room. Late again, and her mouth forms its red-stained frown. Tardy, Abby. I find my seat, resist the urge to draw, instead head my paper. Abby Wood, Math, September 11th, 2001. Number 3. I sit through that morning hour, a dull ache in my abdomen, blossoming like a gigantic thorned flower. Jotting down mathematical formulas I'm told are the key to my future. Even with a math teacher for a mother, my focus wavers in and out, until another teacher bursts in and whispers in the ear of our teacher, who stops teaching to wring her hands. Something's happening in New York and in D.C., she informs us. The tension is tangible. Some planes have crashed, but we don't know the half of it yet. And to my shock, we are soon released from school. Whatever's happening must be terrible, but I can't curb my relief. Early dismissal, set free, free to trot off, free to go our separate ways like it was any other September day. Number 4. The buses pull up like salvation on wheels, like rays of sunshine to my gloom, and Camille, my single friend in Tennessee, is AWOL. So I sit up front on the bus and sketch, up front with the kids from the elementary school next door, up front with my back to kids my own age, who are talking and shouting and pushing and shoving and vibrating with questions about what's happening, up front where the driver is crying about what's happening in New York. New York is where Mom's sister, my Aunt Rose, lives, and Uncle Todd, and my cousins Jackson and Kate. If anyone has cause to cry, it's me. But I'm sure they're okay. New York is huge. It's not just that. My secret is now announcing itself, and I have nothing to tie around my waist, and I'm wishing I hadn't worn white. Maybe a few other kids have reasons too, like the kid halfway back so short nobody sees him, or the 6th grader who sits near the football boys and tries like mad to make them laugh. Or Jaman, new like me, who sits alone, but doesn't usually seem to care. How will I walk away from this bus, my back to all those nosy faces, eyes staring from windows, arms dangling, mouths jeering? But I do. And Mom's car is in the drive. The high school must have dismissed too. Number 5. It's the way she clutches the phone, and that unspeakable expression on her face, her voice attempting to comfort someone who is not me. She glances, half smiles out of habit, as I walk into our latest house, but only her mouth smiles. Her eyes are hollow wells of worry. Her eyes miss the big change in me. I need her to hang up and follow me to the bathroom, to talk to me through the door. Tell me, Abby, I'm here, but she doesn't. I count to 10, breathe deeply, count again. Is she talking to Aunt Rose, Uncle Todd? Is it about New York? Her voice quivers and doesn't sound like her own. What's going on there? Number 6. I soak my underclothes in soapy warmth and think of the sink in my art teacher's class, with its every color splatter and paintbrushes rinsing free of paint. The TV buzzes loud from our den with news of a magnitude I can't comprehend. Why can't Mom hear me, crying for her, needing her, screaming in my head, the kind of screaming a mother should hear? Number 7. She finds me in bed, sketchbook propped in my lap. Something's happened, she whispers. I rise and shadow her from room to room. Questions stick in my throat. My sister, she chokes, tossing random shirts and pants toward a suitcase and swiping at her eyes with a pair of socks. I pick up clothes where they land, fold them neatly, place them gently into her bag. What's going on? I begin. But she's distracted and tells me I have to request a sub, replacing my words with hers. I rearrange the photos of relatives on her dresser and stare at a recent one of my cousins. Mom pauses packing for a few seconds, looks directly at me and tries to explain, with plain language, straightforward, seemingly simple. Your Aunt Rose is missing. Still I stare, my face a fill in the blank. My brain shuts down, my words dry up. Missing? Missing from her desk, her office in New York, the towering building in which she worked. But the building in which she worked, her office, her desk, are also missing. As in, no longer. Missing? How can a building just give up, be gone? How can people just disappear? Mom is preparing to drive to New York, which is half a map from here, to be with my cousins Jackson and Kate, who are 13 and 8, and with my Uncle Todd, while Dad and I will be missing her, but not the same kind of missing. My Aunt Rose is missing from the 86th floor of a building that's smoldering and missing most of itself. I visited her office once with my cousins and Uncle Todd. See, my Aunt Rose and I, we see eye to eye. We click. She gets me. That day she let me sit in her chair and pretend to be boss, so I bossed everyone. Be nice. Make art. Aunt Rose agreed. Let's decree naps, music, candy, and raises for everybody. A framed landscape I'd drawn decorated her office's white wall, which I guess is not there anymore. So I hope you'll pick up a copy of The Places We Sleep and continue along to find out more about Abby's journey. You can also look for my forthcoming novel with Holiday House, which will be coming out in autumn of 2022.